on these, so a couple little form tips. You guys have seen this before, but little stuff I'm looking at when Terrence is going, or where I'm going, or where anybody's going. With rare exception, this does change a little bit as far as, you know, what part of your pecs you're biasing, but the goal is to get as much pec as possible, not front delts. I like a big arch for everyone, really retracted and really depressed shoulder blades through pretty much the entire range of motion. And again, it's really about getting the insertion point of the chest higher than basically the insertion point of your front delt. From there, the little adjustment that I just made on Terrence is when you're here, is the idea of keeping the dumbbell stacked over your elbow, or if anything, ever so slightly out. Whereas if you get tucked in, it's not necessarily that it's gonna take away in the long term from your overall chest development. It's just gonna add a little bit to tricep engagement. So if I can keep you out just a little bit as a good gauge, if you were looking at yourself from straight on from above, the position I'm trying to reproduce now, again, is stacked right above the elbow or slightly out. And then the other thing you're always looking at too is this upper arm path. And you really got kind of a range. People always ask this all the time. Anytime they see me doing stuff like this, Terrence is in a pretty similar position of what I'd call kind of a high elbow position. Do this with no weight. So literally set your shoulders in the position you want, your chest in the position, and pull down to where you can comfortably go. If you can go through that range pain-free, there's no reason you can't train there with a dumbbell. So again, the issues that people have in this position is if you let the dumbbell force you lower than you can go, then it can be tough on your shoulders. But then also go by feel. I say you got a slot where you can train your chest. So literally this 90-degree position and down maybe even 15 or 20 degrees. All of these are good positions as long as the end point is kind of coming across somewhere to your sternum. So you wouldn't want to come here and go into a shoulder press type position. As long as you're going either from straight out across or from slightly dip below and across, all those are fine positions. So if you do it, you're like, oh God, the high elbows wrecks me, how do you do that? Well, then you don't do that. Take this position. Most people, this will be slightly more comfortable or forgiving on the shoulder joint, but I would honestly say it's one of those things that's not one size fit all. So I'm a big advocate of chest rib cage position, shoulder blade position, and then from there, there's some range of maybe, again, these numbers are arbitrary, but 20 degrees or so range of motion that you have where you're still gonna bias a ton of chest. And again, it's just gonna change whether you're doing a little bit more of the fibers that attach to your sternum or a little bit more of the fibers that attach to your clavicle. But most importantly, listen to your shoulder joint and go with what's comfortable there.
A little bit better?
Yeah, look great. So, a huge mistake. People, it's the misquotes that exist everywhere. I've never said that I'm an advocate of slow training. I've never cued anyone necessarily to train slower. I said to Terrence right there, I said, just own that bottom. That's probably some of the best wordage, whoever made that up. I don't know who made up the word own, but if you tell them to own the bottom, you're gonna find a pace and a level of control that's appropriate for you. And if people shit the bed with making incline dumbbells or anything that's a dumbbell or a press easier than they should be, they shit the bed at the bottom because that's where it's hardest. So you just wanna be in a position, I don't wanna say slow, I don't wanna necessarily say stop. That might be what you have to do to feel like you have ownership at the bottom. And so again, the whole point of this exercise, yes, there's some benefit through these mid-ranges, almost all the way up to the top. There's still tension on the chest, but there's by far the most tension, the most force production from your pec at the bottom. So again, if you're a bodybuilder, you want your body to look good. You don't care about this external stuff. Yes, you want to take that to the max, but you want to maximize that external stuff to maximize the internal stuff that's occurring. So again, you want to make the positions, the purpose of an exercise, as hard as possible. So even just saying to Terrence, the average person might miss it. The difference between, you know, the first 3 reps and the last 3 reps is like ever so subtle, but I can pretty much almost guarantee that Terrence felt a slight difference. And again, those are the things that long term will make a big difference. But for the average person watching, just get some ownership down there. Just stop bouncing. I mean, most people, the difference of Terrence is, you know, his form, when it's not, whatever's not great form for Terrence, is better for 99% of people that are watching. You know, so again, Terrence isn't working with me to say, hey Terrence, you're doing great, like, and give him hugs for no reason. He's working with me because he wants to be the best in the world, so he wants to train the best in the world. So again, ownership of that bottom. If you really suck at this exercise, if your form looks like the average person, then you might just add some pauses there, just to make sure you're using your chest, not using momentum, not bouncing. But again, it's not about a specific pace. It's again, just making sure that you're actually using your pecs and not other stuff. Terrence is definitely not here for hugs and kisses.
At most.
You guys are seeing all these sets on the way up. I never give Terrence a number for warm-ups. I give him a concept to think about. So however many reps he needs, you know, you need a certain amount of contractions. How many, I don't know. So again, I wouldn't say do 1 rep for on the way up. You need multiple contractions just to get your body in a physical state where it can produce output. But from there, aside from, you're gonna get some contractions going, your body be ready to go. From there, I also want him just thinking, how many reps do I need until it's perfect? So all he's trying to do, this is his practice. You know, I always say, game day occurs on your working sets. This is your practice up to that point. So overdo good form, intentionally slow it down. Make this the part where if I'm gonna say, go slow, go pause, all that kind of stuff, do whatever you need to do to make sure that your muscles are working perfect, everything's perfect, and keep everything very sub-maximal. So it's gonna work out most of the time. He's doing reps anywhere from like maybe a 4 to 6 to 7 rep range, just because he doesn't want to fatigue himself. Just as many reps as he needs till it really feels like he's got it rehearsed, he's got it perfect, all leading up to wherever our top set's gonna end up. And again, coming into off season, we're just trying to figure out where those weights are at right now. So we just kind of slowly work up. We're gonna look for somewhere around 5 to 8. We kind of guesstimate, and again, it doesn't matter if we only hit 4, not a big deal. Maybe it's next week we try and improve upon that, add some reps to that, or if we hit 10, okay, then it's next week that we add some weight and probably drop that rep range down. So again, it's not rocket science, it doesn't have to be the exact point, but the concept is use your warm-ups for practice. Do not fatigue yourself. Save everything that's truly fatiguing for your working sets. Take your time. There we go. Find another negatives. Attaboy. Good, man. Make those negatives pretty. You'll get them more.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yep. I got you. Come on. Yep. One more. Slow negative, slow negative, slow negative. Squeeze. I got you. Finish on the negative. Just drop it. Yep. You can dump it. Attaboy. Good set. Good luck.
Come on, boy. Yep. Good, man. Good. Come on. Right out of that block, buddy. Come on. Hard squeeze. Hard squeeze.
There we go.
Good stuff, man. Good job. That boy.
Yep.
Overboard. Yep. Overboard.
Right now. Make them hard. Good, man. Negatives in the bottom. The rest is going to be easy. There we go. Good, man. Those are the reps. Come on. On that bottom. There we go. I got you. You just focus on form now. Good. Control.
Hold on to that, buddy. Let's go. Hold on.
Yep. That's it. Finish on the negative, then dump them. Yep.
Just like 2 sets and I'm already sweating.
So guys, the bands here, everyone's always going to ask, what are the bands for? Again, the term is accommodating resistance. And again, it's basically just to make the exercise profile, which is a resistance profile, match your body's profile, which is a strength profile. Which all that really means in simple terms is, let's say hypothetically, you know, you can just do Smith machine press with 300 pounds for 10 reps. Basically, your limiting factor is 300 pounds at the bottom. So if you can do 300 pounds for 10 reps, it's because that's what you tolerate at the bottom. If I said just how much can you do just for the top half, maybe you could do 365 for 10 reps. So the idea is we're gonna essentially try and match that bottom tolerance and overload the bar so we can also use the weight that we can use at the top. So meaning, let's say the band takes off 50 pounds, we're gonna try and have 365 on the bar. So when you're at the bottom and the band takes off 50 pounds, you're using 315. And when you come to the top and the band goes from slacker to slack to the point where you'll see it's not touching, you're using 365. So again, some people think if you use the band inappropriately, does it make it easier? Yes. If you use it properly, it makes it harder because you're using a heavier load at the top than you could if you were just doing free weights instead. And you could, of course, break it up into 2 sets. You could do a set of 10 here and then do another exercise and do a set of 10 here with a heavier load. This is just more efficient. If I can have the load that my body can tolerate in 1 set as opposed to 2, then might as well do it.
It's kind of crazy to watch these guys lift. Like, I'm lifting around the same weight as them, but the way they execute it, how much power they have behind each movement, it's like totally different. So, trying to get there, I'll get there eventually, but it's really cool to see.
Nice, man. Nice. Come on. Come on. Nice. Yep. Good. Let's go. Ooh. All right, good boy. Come on. Yep. Come on, Terrence. Come on, Terrence. Yep. That boy.
Another one, come on. Stay tight.
Yep.
Finish.
That boy.
Get on the lower one if you want. Good center. Good. Alright, man, now we work. Come on. Now work.
Good job. Yep. Whew. Come on, man. Play your tank. Let's go. Play your tank.
Yeah, James, come on. Bring it up to me. Yep.
Why?
Keep it the same, man. Get your head on. Hard. Attaboy. One more. Ain't not negative. Find the strength on the way down. Now hard. Through. I'll get you there. You just finish. Attaboy.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh. Good set.
All right, guys, so this movement, people always get questions why I do this. In my opinion, I rarely like to say this, so I'm not gonna say the best, but it's one of the best, my personal favorite fly variation for all the things that make great exercise. Anytime you have a bench against your back, you will always have more output. And if you argue that, you just don't understand physics. So, you know, as far as standing or leaning forward or having your chest into a bench, those don't provide stability in the opposite direction, you know, the cables are providing for us. So this lets you push as hard back into there. Weight will never be a limit. Stability will never be a limiting factor. You can fly as much weight as you can fly. Alignment is up to you to adjust. So with the height and the arm path, it's very easy to make things joint friendly, have all the force aligned with the fibers of your pec. And then the roller is very simple. It just allows for more range of motion at the scapula. So on a fly, with where we have the cables, I think it's important that your scapula can actually move a little bit. And the thing that you'll get more range here with the half foam roller, your scapula will be able to retract and pull back further than they could if they were flush against the flat bench. And it also makes it pretty easy when you're coming forward, as long as you don't cave in your chest, it's completely fine if the pec continues to contract and pulls your scapula around your body just a little bit. So again, at the back, they're gonna be here, and as you come to the finish, they might actually pull forward and wrap around a little bit. And again, your spine is really what's pushing into the roller and not your scapula, so the scapula are just free to move. Come on, Joe. Come on, man. You got another one. Finish your rep. Attaboy. Whew. Terrence is too lean. Oh man, need more jam and shit still.
I'm up 7-8 pounds.
Nice.
That's all water.
When I go up 7 or 8 pounds, you look right into the table. Why? I let her not Carol because I love her so much. So
That's right.
Same thing on that bottom fanning, a little pause there. Just don't let off. Keep it on the pec.
Come on, man. You got more.
Push you up. Come on, a couple
Let's
more.
go.
Come on. 2. If they move, they count. Come on, stretch. That boy. Find a little groove. Good. Just keep it moving right in that mid range. Everything you do, keep it on the chest. Never let it relax. Keep going, man. Good, man. Now these reps are in your head, man. These just hurt. It's in your head. You got a lot. Head or quit before the body. Come on, let's go. A couple more. Let's go. Come on. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Come on. Keep it moving. Don't stop. Come on. We got 3, 2. Come on. One more. Come on. Yep. Take it where you comfortably got it. Hold it. Yep. About 30 seconds. Keep going. Good. Keep it out. Big stretch. Keep pushing into it where you comfortably go. Keep it on the chest. Your shoulders go there. Shoulder blades pull back. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Man.
You just work. Don't think about the weight. Anybody else? Lock that in. That doesn't move. Hard squeeze. Good. Finish that form into the bicep. Hard squeeze. There it is. Now squeeze. Down slow. Down slow. Hard squeeze. Hard squeeze. Hard squeeze. Hard squeeze. One more. Slow. 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 Now hard, hard, hard. Finish in, finish in, finish in. There we go. Just let it in a little further, James. That in there. There it is. Hard squeeze. Slower negatives. Slower. There we go. Don't rush that negative. Come on. Hard, 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 hard. Down slow. We got one more. All this is locked in stone. Nothing moves. Go, 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 go. Finish. Attaboy.
All right. Yeah. It's a wrap. Oh man. It's hard.
All right, guys. So just finished up chest. It's gonna be chest and delts, and I kind of changed around. We do a split, so we did chest and one bicep exercise. So one was just kind of going through the exercises we picked to start for chest, and then the rest was working on some of the stuff that I think is the most important for Terrence these next couple years, is the way we're going through the sets, the way we're finishing sets, especially the last couple, kind of establishing a really good baseline from there. And
yeah, this was the first time I did like the volume's even lower than what we were doing before.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, it was perfect. I had a good pump before the working set was going, so everything was great. I didn't feel like I beat myself into the dirt like I've been doing the past few weeks with the higher volume, three sets up. And I'm feeling really good about the programming structure so far. Enjoying the exercises quite a bit, the exercises we chose.
yeah,
And I'm just excited to push some heavy weight and get stronger, honestly. It's crazy, a couple years ago I didn't think one set would be enough for me at all. But as time has gone by, I've learned to execute better, and different things like that. You know, with your help, it's been like a, I guess, what is it, like a paradigm shift of my thinking.
well, it's just like an evolution too over that period of time.
Yeah,
and it's fun
yeah.
for me to watch. I'll have to dig back. We'll dig back and put a little comparison video to some of the first times we changed. Because from what I watch, is again, it's all opportunity for development. You know, so the nice part is, you know, there's no ceiling, relatively speaking, for strength. I mean, I don't think we're going to be pressing 250-pound dumbbells, but relatively speaking, you know, we got no ceiling for that. We got a long way to go. And execution, as we keep going, is just like We had huge opportunity 2 years ago, and it's been just kind of closing that gap, closing that gap, closing the gap. And now it's like that last 5%, you know, but I mean, which is, you can spend 5 years getting 4% better, you know, so it's very, very small amounts as we go along. But for me, it's very, very evident the evolution of, you know, his execution. And I always say Terrence is the perfect example. Any good athletes that I work with people that miss it, like they change their execution and they're like, oh, I got to train light now because I got a good execution. It's like, no, like we're using more weight than we're using 2 years ago, and we're using better execution. You know, where it's like that's where the opportunity for growth is. Everything is constantly progressing. It's never about one or the other, and that's the thing that, you know, the casual observer definitely misses.
Yeah.
So that was it.
Yeah.
Go work out. More coming.